It's a 134.3 proof episode of Implicit Bias. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. The penultimate segment here in hour 2. That means the second to last segment for the uninitiated to the show. The crew here in the Mr. Lester's Top Secret Podcast lair is a great one. We have Master Jonathan Broussard at the bar. We have Sage Bro, which we'll come up with a nickname for him sooner or later.
I've had enough.
Maybe that's his nickname. He's had enough. That's because if he gets one, he's pretty much had enough.
We can call him the towel.
The towel.
He's throwing it in.
Oh my God.
I don't know if he's throwing it in.
I've been the range master. I've been the alumni. Let's just stick with Sage, the wise man.
I think Walker's response is the best one.
Yeah.
You'll be an old Sage one day.
Hey, let's do it.
I just think we're going to call you Dumbass from here on out. That's going to be your nickname. So we've got Master Jonathan Broussard at the bar, Dumbass sitting next to him, Walker Griffon behind the audio controls, Aaron David, a.k.a. Tug, is handling the video controls. The Rustic Renegade sits next to me. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. And yes, as we mentioned in the previous segment, by the way, if you missed it, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, X, YouTube, Facebook. Go find us. Please subscribe, like, follow, share. That's the big one. Share because it helps us bring you more Implicit Bias. This, a very special barrel pick, a rye whiskey, straight rye whiskey from Jack Daniels at 134.3 proof. Absolutely fantastic.
I'm not a rye guy, someone said. But
Yeah.
man.
Jonathan, you liked that one, didn't you?
Master manipulator. I do. I really like it.
Yeah, he is. And I actually, Walker, I think, really liked this one too. Yeah. So, and Walker, he's turning into the blossoming whiskey snob over in the corner. All right. So this story, I don't know if it's funny or sad or just both. But, you know, we were telling you just how messed up some people are. And you're like, yeah, they're messed up. That's terrible. That's evil. And then you realize how really, really, really messed up they are. And I'm going to need my phone for this one because we actually need to give names because this involved a full-on guilty plea.
Ooh.
10 years in jail.
Mm-hmm. You're only supposed to show 10% of your crazy, I think is the rule.
Oh, no. This guy showed like...
A hundo.
Oh, no, this guy showed, I don't think he showed a full-on hundo, but he showed a full-on 56 charges that he pleaded guilty to. Amazingly enough, he's from Great Britain, and his last name is Britton. Adam Britton of the BBC, that is the British Broadcasting Company, Caleb, just for clarification.
Thank you
Walker?
for specifying. Walker knew where you were
Yeah,
going
but when
with
you
that.
said when I said 56 charges, that's where you were like, okay, now.
Can I say a disclaimer before you give the rest of that story?
Legal note.
I'm going to give the first disclaimer, which is you might find this one disturbing too. Go ahead.
Second one is no people were harmed in this.
Well, I
that
don't
goes
know.
back to the BBC that Walker's clearing the search history.
Yeah. And that would be the British Broadcasting Company.
Yep.
Britain is apparently a renowned British crocodile expert,
What?
jailed now for 10 years.
What?
Yes, he's
This-
yeah, I know.
This,
I know.
I have an idea where this is going.
He actually got
Mate.
caught in Australia.
Yeah, see? Look, I knew Crocodile
Boy.
Dundee's coming out.
Nope, because
Nope.
this guy apparently doesn't like crocodiles that way.
It's a wallaby.
This guy apparently is really in love with dogs.
Oh.
Like 56 counts of being in love with dogs. No, Walker, I'm serious. Go ahead,
it-
Walker. Walker, are you shocked at this, Walker?
Is it? Is it all breeds? Is it Australian Shepherds?
I
Are they
don't
Chihuahuas?
don't know, don't care.
Great Pyrenees?
Okay, so apparently, hold on.
Help me guess, Walker. Come
There
on.
were. All right, now
Maybe it's a
this is
Shih
where
Tzu.
this is where we have to read some of these. The abuse went unnoticed for years until a clue was found in a video. So not only was this guy crazy, he's dumb enough to put it on video. Arrested in April 2022 after a search of his rural Darwin property in Australia, which uncovered not only
Male or
animal
female
abuse.
dogs?
This is where you go sideways. There was also child abuse in these videos.
Fantastic.
Yes. Calling the offenses devious.
Yeah.
Justice Grant said the unalloyed pleasure Britain took in torturing animals was sickeningly evident. Apparently, he loved dogs to the point of death in some cases.
Loved them.
Now, this is where, and if you go back to the monologue, and this is why I brought in, you want to know just how sick the people who are, for the most part, involved in the mainstream media are? And this brings us back to the potential exposition of the truth and things like Diddy lists and things like Epstein lists.
Well, when you look at the old world, right, the depravity that was allowed by people, and God spoke out against this and said to guard yourself against these things. And you don't put this in your own heart. You're not born with these kind of directions and thoughts. These people have a demon upon them, and it thrives if there is not a biblical covering or someone there to help purge this and cleanse them and keep them on a moral and ethical path. The depravity that they'll go to knows no end because it wants to do more, it wants to hurt more people, and it wants to cause more pain. And there has to be a way to stop it.
I'm going to take this to a less astral plane because I agree with you here. But I also agree with that old saying that birds of a feather flock together. Mm-hmm. And I've said this countless times on this show. You want to know why the old school mainstream media is what it is? It's because they all hang out with the same types of people. You want to know why you have agendas being pushed by mass media organizations? It's because they all hire their friends and people with the same proclivities. This guy, he's not the only one who knows about this. He's not the only person in his media group who's aware of this. These people like to hang out together. I like to hang out with people who make me better. But it's because we have a lot of common interests. It might be knives, it might be firearms, it might be weekly whiskeys, it might be conversation and communication, it might be Catholicism, Christianity, right? It's those things. And you use those things to try and keep you on the right path, as opposed to those of us who are like, yeah, I want to hang out with P. Diddy because ain't no party like a Diddy party. Mm-hmm. When you start making that old school saying, you are who you hang out with, your rule, that's when you get in trouble, when the people you hang out with aren't, Caleb, keeping check on the demons that are out there.
I think Sir David Attenborough figured that out soon enough.
Yeah, and I think that's a reference if I'm catching what you're putting down.
It's kind of hard to narrate planet Earth on what you're doing with your domesticated animals.
Yeah, well, and that's the hard part, right? The hard part is you've got guys like this, and please, again, don't believe me. I mean, I'll tell you exactly where the story came from. As a matter of fact, we want you to go look it up. The story came from the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. Good on them that they actually reported it. Because as we all know, we're all still waiting on the Diddy list and the Epstein list, and that has been known for a while.
Should have been out a long time ago.
But it tells you everything you need to know when people are fighting like crazy to keep these lists secret, to keep them sealed, to keep them out from the purview of everybody else. Because if you knew their secrets, well, your implicit bias might not just put up with it. We'll be back. Final segment. We're going to have tons of fun because this is a segment that I'm going to love as we get to see just how fast you can go 0 to 60 on implicit bias.